Hey Marvel fans, you've been waiting for this, and now it's finally here. The trailer for Daredevil, Born Again has dropped, and there's so much to unpack. Did you catch all the hidden details? From intense showdowns to surprising reunions, this revival is bringing back everything we love about Matt Murdock, but with some major twists. Buckle up, because in this video, I will break down every Easter egg you might have missed. If you were paying close attention, you might have spotted some cool connections to the rest of the MCU. Let me serve you each Easter egg one by one, starting with the unlikely allies. Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk sitting across from each other in a diner? Now that's something you don't see every day. You can feel the tension in the air, but weirdly enough, there's also this strange sense of civility. These two have been at each other's throats for years. Yet here they are, having what almost seems like a normal conversation. But is it real? Fisk isn't just a crime boss anymore. He's the mayor now. And judging by those quick flashes of Fisk brutally taking someone down, he's probably right to be skeptical. Still, Matt isn't shutting him down completely. Maybe he's trying to figure out what Fisk is up to, or maybe he just wants to see if there's any chance this so-called truce is real. But then comes the part that really gets people talking. Fisk actually tells Matt that seeing him again isn't entirely unpleasant. Coming from him, that's basically a compliment. But let's not get it twisted. It's also a warning. For now, they're keeping things civil, but how long can that really last? Fisk isn't the kind of guy to just let things go. And Matt? He's not the type to turn a blind eye to corruption, no matter how powerful Fisk has become. This might not be a full-on war yet, but something tells me it won't take much to tip the scales. Coming up next is the most heartbreaking Easter egg. At one point, Daredevil, Born Again, was going to have Matt Murdock hang up the suit for nearly the entire first season. Marvel Studios eventually realized that wasn't the best move, but it looks like some of that idea is still in play. In the trailer, Fisk asks Matt why he stopped being a vigilante, and his response is simple: a line was crossed. But what does he mean by that? Did he do something he regrets, or is he talking about Bullseye's brutal attack from the past? Whatever the reason, it's clear that Matt has stepped away from being Daredevil, for now. But we all know that won't last forever. He's seen, later in the trailer, wearing a rough, thrown-together version of his suit. So it's only a matter of time before he's back in action. The big question is, what finally pushes him to put the mask back on? If Matt really has walked away from his vigilante life at this point, that could explain why he's not immediately standing against Fisk's new anti-vigilante plans. But knowing Fisk, his so-called plan is probably just a way to make himself even more powerful. Wilson Bethel is back as Benjamin Dex Poindexter, and he's up and moving again, but not exactly as a free man. In the trailer, he's being escorted through prison by a group of guards, which means Marvel Studios hasn't forgotten about him. Fans will remember how Daredevil Season 3 turned him into a fake Daredevil, but this time, it looks like he'll be closer to the deadly marksman from the comics. His suit might not be an exact match, but the attitude and skills are definitely there. Later in the footage, Bullseye is seen in action, proving he's still as dangerous as ever. While it's unclear how big his role will be in Born Again, it's great to see the show addressing his unfinished story rather than leaving it hanging. He may not be the main villain this time around, but his presence alone is enough to shake things up. With Fisk in power and Matt questioning his role as a hero, having someone like Bullseye back in the mix could make things even more complicated. Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Woll are back as Foggy Nelson and Karen Page, even though they weren't originally expected to return in Daredevil Born Again. Thankfully, after some big changes behind the scenes, they're now part of the series. We even get a glimpse of them with Matt, though it's hard to tell how much screen time they'll actually have. One interesting shot shows Karen in what looks like a courtroom. That alone raises questions, but what really stands out is that she's wearing black. Could this mean something bad happens to Foggy? Their roles in this season might not be very big, but just having them back is a good sign. Whether they play a small or major part, their return adds to the excitement for Born Again. Wilson Fisk is now the mayor of New York City, and the crowd seems to love him. But how did he pull that off? This is the same man who was behind bars not too long ago. Did he clear his name, or did he find a way to bend the system in his favor? Either way, he's more powerful than ever. Word is, Fisk is winning people over by cracking down on street-level vigilantes, the same ones who have been a problem for him for years. But here's the real question. Does Matt even care? If he's truly given up being Daredevil, he might not see this as his fight. But how long can he stay out of it? With Fisk in charge, trouble is never far away. In the trailer, it looks like Matt Murdock has moved on from Karen Page, as we see a new love interest. Heather Glenn. In the comics, Heather was a socialite who helped Matt get his law firm up and running thanks to her father, Maxwell Glenn, an industrialist. However, things took a dark turn when Heather's father fell under the control of the Purple Man and got tangled up in criminal schemes. Despite Matt's efforts, he couldn't save him, and tragically, Heather's father ended his own life. Over time, their relationship crumbled as Heather struggled with partying and alcohol abuse. Sadly, it ended with her descending further into addiction before her own death. Will Matt find a fresh start with Heather, or is this new relationship doomed too? Also, who is the mysterious villain Muse? He's a serial killer with a creepy artistic twist. His graffiti is hard to miss, and it looks like he's not just any run-of-the-mill killer. He seems to have a serious vendetta against Mayor Wilson Fisk. Could Fisk be the reason behind his rage? If Muse's family was hurt by the Kingpin, will Daredevil be able to stop him from taking matters into his own hands? After all, Matt's been down a similar path before, seeking justice for his own reasons. With bodies hanging from the ceiling, it's clear that things are getting personal for Muse. What's Matt going to do when his past and Muse's revenge collide? Let us know about your assumptions in the comment section below. In the trailer, there's a quick scene showing Wilson Fisk and Vanessa Fisk having dinner together. But what really caught my attention is the white portrait hanging in the background, the same one covered in blood from the shocking finale of Daredevil Season 3. Seeing this portrait again makes it clear that Netflix's Daredevil is still part of the story, and Marvel Studios isn't pretending like it never happened. This means the events from the earlier show are considered canon, and Born Again is continuing that storyline. However, there might still be some small changes. After all, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios tend to tweak things a little for the MCU, so we might see a few updates along the way. Do you think some elements of the Netflix series will stay, or will we get a fresh twist? One of the most exciting moments in the trailer is the return of Jon Bernthal as Frank Castle, also known as the Punisher. Fans have been hoping for his return ever since his first appearance, and it's finally happening. While we don't get to see much of Frank in this trailer, we do see Matt Murdock tracking him down. When Matt confronts Frank, things get tense fast. Frank pins Matt up against some lockers, holding a hatchet in his hand. But then, in a surprising move, Frank sets the hatchet down, right next to Matt's head. It's clear that these two have a complicated relationship, but will they eventually team up as allies? Let's wait for that. In Daredevil, Born Again, we get a cool moment with Hector Ayala fighting thugs in a subway. He later suits up as White Tiger, though his outfit has more black than the all-white look from the comics. He wears an amulet that gives him powers, which is later passed to his niece, Angela Del Toro, in the comics. This could hint at her future in the MCU. Sadly, the actor who plays Hector, Camar de los Reyes, passed away in December 2023 after a battle with cancer. His appearance as White Tiger is a tribute to his talent. Could this be just a one-time thing, or will his legacy continue in the Marvel Universe? Matt Murdock has been through a lot of suits over the years. In the first season of Daredevil, he wore the same suit for most of the show until switching to a black version in Season 3. We've even seen him in the yellow suit in She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, but this new trailer teases even more costume changes. There are 5 different cowls shown, 2 in different reds, plus white, yellow, and black. The classic red suit makes an appearance, and it looks like this might be his go-to for most of Daredevil, Born Again. Will he switch things up further? As for the violence, it's back and intense. This trailer shows Daredevil going full force, breaking bones and landing punches without holding back. After the lighter version we saw in She-Hulk, it's clear Born Again is going for that TV May rating. Could this mean a darker version of Daredevil in the MCU? Maybe we'll even see him team up with Spider-Man in the future? Anything's possible. What do you think, though? Are you ready for a more brutal Daredevil? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates